reason why I started producing music is because I needed an escape from my 9-to-5 desk job, where I spent 8+ hours a day being a glorified data monkey Excel snob and memorizing all the corporate brain rot terms. I felt like it was the only time during my day where I can truly be myself and put myself on a canvas, or in other words, the dawg. The issue is, when I first started, I didn't know how to do this very well. In other words, I sucked at producing music. So through trial and error, I started self-teaching myself how to produce music in the next year and a half. I've gained more confidence in the dawg, my producing skills leveled up, but there's still one amateur thing that keeps me from being a professional level producer: making professional level drops. So today, I decided enough is enough. I'm going to learn the entire lore, the entire fucking scriptures to huge drops. If this sounds like you, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna watch every YouTube video possible on making the biggest drops ever and turn my amateur sounding drops into professional festival rave level banger. And you can learn how just by watching this video and learning with me. Let's get it. So I figured the best way to test this is to take the same track that I made last video and revamp this pretty amateur sounding drop. So let's get into it. Alright, so I got the tube loaded up. Let's see what the scriptures say. How to make big EDM drops. Nope. This dude seems pretty enthusiastic. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm going to show you 5 ways to make your drops hit harder. Tip 1 is layering. Listen to this sound on its own. Now let's add a couple of complementary layers. Next tip is adding...
Maybe this thing did sound a little lonely. I know the whole point of the last video was to show off this lead that I made, but I think it is a little bit lackluster in the whole context of things. Let's see if we can incorporate this dude's advice. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this. I think that's all I needed. I just needed to double it and pass it on. No, I'm just fucking around. So my understanding is, even though I don't claim to be professional level producer, the whole point of layering is that you don't want to just duplicate tracks just for the sake of it and just using the same instrument over and over again. You want to try to fill out as many different sounds or low ends, high ends as possible. That was definitely one rookie mistake I was making a lot when I first started producing. I just thought, oh, why don't I just double the fucking sound? But now we gotta get a little bit more nuanced than that. Maybe this could use more low end. Let's see. And it's literally the opposite. Okay, maybe that wasn't exactly adding more low end, but I did feel like it added another flavor to it. A little MSG. Well, MSG doesn't hurt. So this is before. And after. Alright, let's add something else now. Let's see what else I have in Vital. The hard style screech lead. I think that's what I needed the whole time. Alright, get the fuck out of here with that. Nah, fucking harmonica sounding ass. Alright, let's see what Logic stock plugins have. I'm fine with it. I think this is a could be wrong. Correct me on this, sound design nerds, but that sounds like more like a square wave, very video gamey. But don't quote me. Alright, let's hear it all in context. Maybe I stand corrected. This doesn't need more low end. But what if we just kept it same pitch, but I think it sounds a lot better. What do you guys think? Alright, so we layered the leads. Let's see what else that needs to be done, according to this dude.
Ear candy. Little rhythmic bits of texture that complement the main idea. This is the ear candy on its own. And in the mix. Next is one you probably...
Ear candy. I guess the ears deserve some treats too, don't they? Where the fuck would I add ear candy? Does it need ear candy? No, it doesn't need ear candy. This is already perfect the way it is. It's pretty professional sounding, actually. Alright, let's see what's in. Bring up the old splice. What could this use? Definitely could use something in this fill. Oh, that's what I'm thinking. What was like a gun rattling? Gun. Oh my god. Or maybe some textural falling noises. I don't know. It's too early for this shit. Oh, gun reloading somewhere. Yeah, something like this. Let's see. Let me bring this into beat. Boom, boom. It's like this. Maybe a stick. Some sticks. Don't have any sticks in here. Stick. Maybe glass. You can see I have no idea what to do. I say sticks and then I bring up glass. What if? Okay, that sort of worked. Acted as a mini riser. Add another element. I'm feeling some ice cubes. It's getting pretty hot here. It's summer and all. Did I even add anything to it? It's competing. What if I reverse this too? The trick is to making fills is to just reverse everything. Just cause. With no real meaning. And that's kind of sick, not gonna lie. See, there's some truth to what I'm saying. It's not all complete bullshit. So we can just get rid of all of this. It's competing with the glass noise, I feel like, so gotta fill out the empty space. I need some OTT. Let's use OTT. This is completely unrelated to the video, but I have an idea. I might have an idea. Sometimes you don't need a video to tell you what to do. You just got to listen to your own heart. Just some Memorial Day wisdom for y'all. Don't mind me. Alright, what if we just cut this out? Oh my god. Alright, we need to fix this. The idea is when the metal snare hits, I don't want any noise. I want to be like boom, boom. You know? I'm gonna use reverb here. Fuck. I still don't like that. Maybe this is a good idea to watch videos. Now let's see if we can figure it out. But I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. Something like that. Alright, let's move on. Spend too much time on this shit.
Probably already know, but it's simple sidechain compression. This is before, and this is after.
Alright, so I already got sidechaining, so I think we're good there.
Next is automating reverb swells. And finally,
Automating reverb swells. Wasn't I just doing that? Okay, so basically what he's saying is I am a professional level producer. I wonder if there's any need to do that right here. Maybe. It does sound very, it doesn't sound very human. That doesn't make any fucking sense. But if you're to imagine like it's a, say a violin. I know it is not a violin, but if you imagine, you can imagine being like a slow attack getting into it, like vroom, vroom, instead of like a bomb, bomb. That probably made no sense, but let's see if I can show you that with reverb swells. Let's do an extreme case and then adjust from there. Too extreme. I guess it's very subtle, but you can kind of hear that swelling that I created. Do the same thing here. There's something actually about this I don't like still. Maybe this just needs straight up crescendo. Maybe use the volume automation. I don't like using it because then you can't adjust the faders, but I'm gonna have to do it. Just a tiny bit. Something like that. Alright, moving on. We're still on one video, which is crazy.
Processing the sounds with saturation, compression, and other effects. For more music production tips like...
Alright, so I already have something like that, where I have a mastering chain on, which is literally just Logic's mastering assistant. Not a mastering guide also. We'll have to learn this separately in another time. But I do have things like saturator, compression on the drums, and all the other elements and whatnot. So I think I'm good there. All right, let's watch a new video. We need a fresh mind here.
How to make your drops sound bigger. So on the master, I have a volume automation here, as well as an EQ automation. For the volume automation, I'm starting at 0 dBs on the buildup, and then minusing about 2.5 dBs. And then when the drop hits, I'm boosting the total dBs to 1 dB. I'm also setting this to mid-side mode by right-clicking and clicking this, and then minusing about 25 or so. And then for the EQ automation, I'm basically starting all the way at the bottom and then slowly cutting out some of the lows to about 125 or so. And then for the highs, starting all the way at the top and then slowly kind of cutting out some of the highs to around 11,000 or so, and then bringing everything back up. So this is without the automation. And then this is with the automation.
Yep, so I think I pretty much cover everything there already. So what I have on the master is first thing he said in the build up, he dropped the volume by like around 2 dBs, which I similarly did as well. And then I don't know what mid-side mode is in Ableton, but I assume it's like a stereo imager, which I did as well. Right here, kind of made it much thinner, and then boom, exploded, made it very wide. Gee, this may not be the correct technique here. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe something like this. Okay, and then lastly, he had like EQing going on. Yeah, so I did a high cut, automation, and then a low cut. Essentially, what he's trying to do is make the build-up sound thin towards the end of it, and then when the drop hits, it really explodes with sound. So I did something like that already. So in theory, that means this should sound pretty good on main stage EDC. All right, moving on. Watch this if your drop feels weak. Thanks, man.
If you're an EDM producer, you've probably heard that you need tons of layers to make a huge drop, but that's just simply not true.
Really? That's what the first guy said I needed.
One bass layer. No, it's a Reese-based preset that I got from Splice. I've just done some processing to kind of fit it in the mix. It's not really making it any bigger if I take it away. It was already pretty big to begin with. So how is this sounding so full then if there's only one bass layer, but yeah, it sounds so bass heavy? We've got some guitars here that are making the low end thicker as well. We have chords. More chords. And one more chord. As you can hear, all the chords are quite gritty and distorted. That's because I'm building the drop in that world where it's more like aggressive. So you want to treat all your elements.
So essentially, you only need one bass layer when you have 50 other layers going on covering the low end. All right, let's see what we can do here. I do have to agree though, this does sound pretty thin, my elements here. Just a couple of synth stacks, a sub bass, and this growl bass sidechain that I have going on. Let's see if we can do the same thing here though. Yeah, this definitely needs a lot more help. another chord somewhere. Chord stuck. I don't know if I should add guitars to this, would that sound too much? Let's add these back in, see what happens. And I'll cut it up like the same rhythm as the chord stacks. Not sure how this is gonna sound like, but let's see. This could sound a little bit thicker, and maybe bring back those guitars would sound nice. It's so fucking tedious, but it's for the art. All right, here we go. Let's see how it sounds. Oh jeez, so I didn't hear anything. This versus does it need more chord stacks? He has like 3 chord stacks and a guitar. That's pretty much what I have. Maybe a little more. Let's see what else. The key to pro level drops. Alright, it's here at J.
Focus on your drums, bro. You can make good drums. Any sound on top of them will sound good. I promise you.
Okay.
Although it's a bass house track, I am using a kick rumble. I always like to add a second kick.
Second
now,
kick.
3 claps. Open hi-hats. This is like a slap, I call it. We also got a perk kind of thing. If you're struggling to make songs that sound...
That's interesting. So he has 2 kicks. And he's also using these random perk sounds. These, not sound effects, but low textural sounds. One-shots in the background. Maybe something I could add to my track. So this is what I have. Oh god. Yeah, to tell you the truth, I don't know what else to add right now. I think I need to take a little break. My ears are fucking hurting from listening to the same thing over and over again. Alright, I'm gonna go eat lunch. And I'll come right back to this with a refreshed mind, hopefully. So I'm back, and I lied. I was gone for lunch, maybe a few lunches, maybe a few dinners in between the last recording. Got a bit distracted with some tennis and something like 12 plus hours of work from my desk job. Honestly, should rename this series as the 9 to 5 producer, given that I get off work nowadays after 9 p.m. So, funny enough, I actually am on the clock today. So I've got roughly, roughly an hour before I'm back on the clock. The reason why I look like shit is I just literally roll out of bed and figured this is the only time I have to really finish this week. So that's why I look like shit and I'm half asleep. Well, let's see what I can do given these parameters. So let's just watch this dude again as a recap.
Make good drums. Any sound on top of them will sound good. I promise you.
Just make good drums, bro. It's that simple. Yeah, the issue is that he's doing like a very, funky house track. I'm doing very different genres, so it's hard to kind of build inspiration off of what he said. But let's see if we can take some of his advice and see what we can spin it into for this particular track. Okay, I have an idea. This could go very poorly, but maybe instead of adding new drums, I switch up the drum rhythm a little bit, because it's almost repeating the whole time. So let's see what I can do. I'm thinking boom, 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 boom. Let's see if I can remember. I just need to just get down to kick and snare as the bass. Damn, am I like rhythmically challenged? Boom, 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 boom. See how this sounds. That's pretty cool. Let's make this more interesting. I thought I had a reverse kick in here. Maybe I'm tripping. I'll say a reverse kick would be nice. A little swell in right here. It would sound pretty cool. So sometimes I like adding these to just add a little bit more of a transitional effect. It sounds really nice. Maybe you can barely hear the fucking difference here. That's nice. You can really hear here right before the drop. Just like these drums have that glitchy effect with the rest of the chord stocks, to kind of follow it. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I gotta get out the MIDI keyboard. Just got my regular keyboard out. 9 to 5 keyboard. Alright. Let me cook. This might sound terrible, but I might be onto something. Alright, I think that's enough on the drums. Let's move on. Got a little sidetracked again.
This tip feels too obvious to be even talking about, but I've honestly been on so many coaching calls where I just don't see it in the mix. Anyway, check this out. Let me know what you...
Really? Is it that obvious? Huh?
Literally a riser, one of the most basic beginner elements, and for that reason I think it's quite often overlooked. Just take a listen to the drop from my track Not Giving In without any risers. And now with the riser. Like 1, it adds energy, 2, it fills out your drop, and 3, it helps you.
Huh. So it was that obvious, huh? Though low-key, I thought I do have a riser. Let's hear it. I just need to not fade it in as harshly. Let the riser be heard. That sounds a little bit better. All right, let's do one more video because I have only 30 minutes on the clock until I have to change and not look half naked.
How to make a feature-based build-up.
Okay, so I actually do a lot of these things already, I think. Okay, one thing I can do, actually. Since this is just using the old lead where it sounds very thin, I want to now use everything together. Interesting. You added a sub in the build-up, which I did not do. I think I have the notes here, actually. Let's hear this in context. Not too shabby, right? Maybe I should listen to more YouTubers instead of just fucking no mapping, no recipe, everything. So to recap, here's what I did to make my drop sound much more professional. One, I added way more layers. I made my leads and my chord stack sound bigger by literally adding more sounds. Be purposeful with what you're adding. Don't just duplicate the same track and throw on the same instruments, because otherwise you're not really adding anything, you're just making it sound louder. So really try to use different instruments and different sounds to really fill out the sounds. Second, don't sleep on automation, whether that is creating swells on your leads or making the build up thinner and then blowing up everything on the drop. Automation does a great job of keeping everything very dynamic and lively. Third, have a good solid drum pattern. This is according to the meta. This is what your drop should be centered around. If you don't have good drum selection and rhythm, your drop will sound like ass, essentially. Also make sure to sidechain your drop elements to your drums. Fourthly, use FX, things like little ear candy, risers, sweeps, impacts, things like that are, even though they're subtle sounds, they can really fill up some of the missing space in your drop. And then fifth, also focus on your build-up. Build-up is just as important. Think of it as like the pregame. Sometimes the pregame can go just as hard as the main event, right? Yeah, or I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. If all the YouTubers say it, it must be true, right? So yeah, that's what I got. You tell me, is this a professional sounding drop compared to my last one? Just let me know in the comments what you think, and if there's anything else that I'm missing on my list, and anything else I should do to improve upon this. So yeah, appreciate you guys sticking around. I need to not look half naked because I have my 9 to 5 starting in about 10 minutes. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.